The Mistletoe Gala is becoming a holiday tradition down in Texas City. It's not a government event, it's the mayor's private company, Dedrick Johnson Productions, that puts it on. And it benefits charity. That's nice. I wasn't invited last Christmas, darn. But my buddy, Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, he drove down to the marquee at the mainland to join the fun on Christmas Eve. Here he is chatting it up with Mayor Johnson and Johnson's party buddy, Dennis Harris, promoted to assistant fire chief down there despite an ongoing perjury investigation, and complaints that Harris helped the mayor illegally tear down the historic auditorium of a school on property owned by descendants of freed slaves. You gotta admit Mayor Johnson made quite the rock star entrance at this year's party. Take a look at the guy to the left of him. He's part of the mayor's security detail. Yes, apparently the mayor of the 70th largest city in Texas now thinks he needs protection when he goes to a Christmas party. In fact, we were surprised to learn that Texas City has an entire dignitary protection unit, 15 officers. And on that Christmas Eve Saturday, the city tells us that 6 of their dignitary protection officers were working. 2 even claimed overtime as part of the mayor's party detail. We don't see those plainclothes cops on the dance floor, and the Texas City Police Department can't explain what so many officers who could be on the streets patrolling are doing instead. We documented 460 diplomatic protection hours in just 1 year. Only 88 hours tell us they were protecting the mayor for sure. But when we asked who else needed protection, we got a list of council members, and were told to contact each one of them to find out what events taxpayers were paying to protect them at. That's accountability. Is this about security or about status? Wiley, Texas is a little bit bigger than Texas City, the 68th biggest city in fact. How many dignitary protection officers do they have? They told us none.
Neither, let's call the whole thing off.
We can't call this investigation off, Mayor, because there's so much more to talk about. Not just how much unneeded security politicians like you think they're entitled to, but what those protectors of the dignitaries are wearing. Yes, let's talk fashion.
I want to wear it.
This is a new time for fashion. I think you represent that newness.
Plainclothes Texas City cops get $450 a year for their clothing allowance. The cops who go to classy events like the Mistletoe Gala, well, they get $850 to go shopping, enough for a couple of suits at Macy's. In 2021, the clothing bills cost taxpayers in Texas City about $18,000. But it looks like in 2022, last year, at least some of the cops may have gotten their suits custom made by this guy, Rajan Gulati, a tailor who lives all the way in Thailand. Here is a pic from his Facebook page. Wonder how the city found this guy? We know. He's a business associate of Mayor Johnson's, his personal tailor in fact. Maybe he even designed the mayor's duds for the Mistletoe Gala. These are Facebook pictures from 2019, when Mayor Johnson's production company teamed up with Gulati for what they called Suit Yourself events around town. Johnson wasn't mayor yet. Look who helped sponsor at least one of the events. Dennis Harris, the mayor's party buddy. The former fire marshal, now assistant fire chief. Small world. Early this year, we got a tip the mayor violated city bidding rules on payments to Gulati. City council must approve any expenditure over $3,000. Expenditures over $3,000 have to be put out for bids. Here's an email with Johnson asking the city finance director if it was okay to use a credit card to pay the balance on Gulati's bill. She said yes. We asked to see the invoice supporting the payment. Texas City said there wasn't one. So how do taxpayers know exactly what we're giving Gulati money for? Did the mayor's company make money on the deal? Legitimate question. There's no evidence Texas City Council ever approved the invoice, the payment. And Mayor Johnson, he used a PayPal account to pay Gulati. The city had never used it before. Was that designed to try to hide the transaction? The mayor has some explaining to do. The investigation of Dedrick Johnson's production company is the latest in a growing list of troubles in Texas City. The tearing down of an historic auditorium on property owned by descendants of the first black property owners was simply shameful. The latest in a long line of questionable demolitions by the mayor with the help of Harris.
To me, it's just like you've taken a dagger and stuck it in my heart. See, I'm so hurt I don't know what to say.
The Galveston DA's office has promised a grand jury will decide soon if Dennis Harris should face criminal charges for apparently lying on a sworn affidavit in another case, claiming he witnessed a violation of the city ambulance rules by a company called Windsor EMS. Turns out it wasn't true. The Windsor EMS folks say you signed a false probable cause affidavit in their case. Did you?
I'm here doing an inspection. I can't comment on any of that right now.
Mayor Johnson ignored the allegations of possible perjury when he promoted Harris. There needs to be internal investigations when credible allegations are made against any city employee. Harris may have been just trying to help the EMS director, Wendell Wiley.
I'm under orders not to speak to you.
We know Wiley used that clearly false sworn affidavit to start a state health department investigation of Windsor EMS.
And now they're just trying to protect their ass.
Windsor claims it's all retaliation, claiming Wiley took away their ambulance permit after they refused to hire him for a side gig while he was regulating Texas City ambulance companies.
Well, we're going to sit down and we're just trying to discuss everything that's going on to see if we can come to a conclusion of all this.
Lynn refused to meet that day, and a day after that curious conversation with Mr. Wiley, Lynn got what he calls a SWAT-style visit at his Clear Lake headquarters for what amounts to a traffic ticket.
Wendell Wiley, 2 Texas City police marshals, all showed up in separate vehicles, and Wendell Wiley and Dennis Harris, who had a gun on his hip, went to the front window, asked for me.
We asked Texas City to look at the activity sheets for the fire marshals that day, the dispatch logs. Guess what? There's no record of anyone going to Windsor EMS. But Texas City has spent 6 years trying to get anyone from Windsor found guilty of violating their ambulance rules. Every single ticket has now been dismissed. The city never could prove Windsor folks did anything wrong. That should be investigated too. But I can almost guarantee it won't be unless the DA realizes there's a lot more going on here than one questionable sworn affidavit. A federal appeals court says Wiley likely violated criminal laws when he detained Windsor paramedics.
Wendell Wiley crossed the line a bunch of times. He committed official oppression, unlawful restraint. His behavior could be requesting a bribe. That's another crime. Perjury. I named 4 crimes right there.
Not answering any questions. Have questions you need answered, go see the city attorney.
Wait a second. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? The city attorney who helped block us from entering a public courtroom? He hasn't returned our calls since that day. The mayor may have been laughing it up on the dance floor at the Mistletoe Gala, dressed to the nines. But there's something very wrong in Texas City. It's clearly not funny, and the city council there deserves a big share of the blame if they don't open their eyes and their mouths. Voters should all be watching.
Corruption in Texas City is just a everyday of life down there. You either roll with their corruption. If you don't, they'll push you over, push you out of the way, do whatever they need to do to make you go away.